Hey Trent, I'm a mid-market account executive in software sales. I'm just curious, how do I stand apart in 2025?
I'm also a mid-market account executive in software sales, and the way to stand apart in 2025, at least my strategy, is to double down on cold calling because pipeline will solve all of our problems. So if your incentives are based around setting meetings to generate pipeline and that's it, like an SDR, or you're an account executive like us and you need to generate revenue, you have a quarterly quota. If your quarterly quota is $100,000, you need at least 3x pipeline coverage to have a reasonable chance of hitting quota, win rate aside. So you need $300,000 in pipeline. Your company may get you to what, 60% of pipeline coverage, maybe 70 if you're at a great company based on the inbound request. So how do you close the gap on the outstanding pipeline deficit so that you can stand apart? Or better yet, if you're at a great company like us, where you get a whole lot of inbounds that can get you to 100 or maybe 120% of quota, by making those extra cold calling, by double down and outbound prospecting and setting a few extra meetings a month, that is what will get you to 150%. That's what will get you to 180% of quota attainment. I was just listening to an interview from, I think his name's Matt Plank, the chief revenue officer of Rippling, and the interviewer said, "Is outbound prospecting dead?" And he's like, "No, that's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. We set over 50% of our meetings, and they set thousands of demos a month via outbound cold calling. So it gives me extra reassurance that cold calling is alive and well. And what I'm seeing in my job is that the more I call, the more likely I am to actually set a meeting. In a world where what we were just talking about, you can use these intent-based tools, ZoomInfo, Clay, Apollo, LinkedIn Sales Nav, whatever AI tools, demand-based to quickly send out messaging. We just changed our outbound emailing from normal company name to company name plus another domain because our email domains are burnt. I never get any deliveries. LinkedIn is like throwing darts literally in the dark. So what does that leave you with as a method to set meetings? It's picking up the phone and contacting someone out of the blue, interrupting their day. It's the most direct way of reaching someone so that you can set a meeting. So the way I plan to stand apart in 2025 is to double down on outbound cold calling so we can set more meetings, which will lead to more pipeline. Happy pipeline, happy life. What do you think?
I think it all sounds good. Sounds like cold calling is a good way to stand apart because it's never been easier to send mediocre or even good messaging because of Clay.com, etc. Why do you think people don't cold call more?
I think it's because it could be a variety of factors. In the past, even in the present, when I'm hesitant to pick up the phone, I would say right now it's probably complacency is the number one reason why I don't cold call. Because if I have the inbound flow of quality meetings coming in and I have pipeline and I have a path to quota without having to prospect, then I'm a human. Why would I go through the pain and the extra work and the turmoil to pick up the phone and call? It's just inconvenient, especially with the holidays. It's I almost feel awkward calling someone on their cell phone during a holiday stretch when they're probably on vacation. So I'm not making excuses, but I'd say the reason why I don't call as much right now is because of contentment. When we reset back to zero early January, I think that fire will be reignited to an extent. I think in the past, the reason why I haven't cold calls is because I didn't know what I was doing or what I was talking about. So I just was like, it probably doesn't work. This is a waste of my time. I'm going to spend 2 hours finding people to call and then another 2 hours to call. And then I end the day having set no meetings and I'm tired and I go home and don't want to talk to anyone. And then that's it. So I just avoid picking up the phone and it's to my detriment. You won't stand apart if you don't pick up the phone.
I believe you, but let's say it's, I don't know, like mid-February and the beginning of the year, invigoration wears off. What systems do you have to make sure you stay motivated to and consistently? I mean, I motivate more. Maybe it's discipline to stay consistently cold calling, right? Whether it's for an SDR or an AE out there that's busy managing meetings, like what systems do you have to stay consistent?
I think it starts with your target. We were talking about this a week ago. I was telling you, I was like, there's no reason why I can't make $300,000 in 2025. And you were like, well, my baseline was 250. Now we're thinking a little bit bigger. We're thinking a little bit different. So if I want to make $300,000 in 2025, I basically need to finish 180 to 200% of annual quota throughout the course of the year. And if I'm just going to reactively sit back and wait for inbounds to come in, that is not going to put me in the best position to far exceed my quota. So I recognize that in order to achieve my goals, I need to put in the necessary levels of activity each and every day so that I even have a chance over the course of an entire quarter and year to set those extra meetings so I can get a little bit of extra pipeline, which will ultimately lead to 15, 20, 30% extra revenue over the course of a long period of time. So it's constantly reinforcing those ideas at the macro, but then zooming in and recognizing that all I can control is my effort today, and I have to win the day today. I have to put in activity today. I have to find new prospects. I have to contact them, definitely via phone. Can't just rely on email. And then I need to sort of disconnect from the outcome and just focus on the inputs, making the calls, getting live conversations.